All right, let's talk about something that's running behind the scenes on pretty much every app on your phone: data privacy. Today, we're going to peel back the curtain and break down the two biggest rule books designed to keep your personal information safe. You know the drill, right? You download a new fitness app, and bam, it asks for your location. A social media app wants to see all your contacts. Have you ever just paused for a second and thought, hang on, why do they really need this? Well, that's exactly the question we should all be asking. Because here's the deal. For the people building these apps, handling our data isn't just a technical thing. It's about trust. And that trust is enforced by some seriously powerful laws. If companies don't comply, they can get hit with staggering fines. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, so to get a handle on this, we're going to look at the two big players. Over in the European Union, you've got GDPR, which is the rulebook for all kinds of personal data. And then here in the United States, we have HIPAA, which is laser focused on protecting our sensitive health information. First up, let's jet over to Europe and dive into what's probably the most powerful and comprehensive data privacy law on the planet: GDPR. So what is GDPR officially? It stands for the General Data Protection Regulation. And really, it's this landmark piece of legislation that's all about putting people, citizens of the EU, back in the driver's seat when it comes to their own personal information. If you wanted to boil GDPR down to just one idea, it's all about your rights. You have the right to know exactly what data is being collected, the right to give clear, unambiguous consent, the right to see that data, and, this one's huge, the right to be forgotten. Yep, you can actually tell a company to completely erase your data. So what does this actually mean for apps? Well, for one, they can't just bury the consent form in a 30-page document of legal jargon anymore. Nope. It has to be a clear, explicit choice. They also have to give you an easy way to see your data and delete it. And here's a big one. They're only allowed to collect the absolute minimum data they need for the app to work. No more scooping up extra info just in case. The result of all this is massive. It's not just some extra paperwork. It forces developers to think about privacy from the very first line of code. Secure storage, encrypted connections, clear privacy settings, these things are no longer just nice-to-haves. They are the absolute foundation. Okay, now let's switch gears and come back to the US to look at a law that's much more focused, but believe me, incredibly strict. Let's talk about HIPAA, the guardian of our health data. HIPAA is the American law that sets the gold standard for protecting what's called PHI, or Protected Health Information. And that's basically everything you can think of: your medical history, lab results, insurance info, even billing records. It's all under HIPAA's protection. So if you think about GDPR as being all about user rights and control, HIPAA is more like a bank vault. It is laser focused on security, privacy, and confidentiality. Its entire mission is to make sure your medical information stays yours and only yours unless you say otherwise. And the rules for that vault are intense. It means data has to be encrypted always. Think of it like this. When data is just sitting on a server that's at rest, it has to be in a digital safe. When it's being sent over the internet, in transit, it has to be in a digital armored truck. It also requires things called business associate agreements, which are legally binding contracts that make sure any partner an app works with, like a cloud storage company, follows the exact same tough security rules. So the real-world impact here is that building a health app that's compliant with HIPAA is a huge undertaking. It demands a level of security that's on par with a bank. We're talking military-grade encryption, rock-solid user authentication, and a detailed audit trail of who accessed what data down to the exact second. So we've gone through both of them. Now let's put them side by side. This is where you can really see how they're different and also where they overlap. This table really lays it out perfectly. GDPR is broad. It's for the whole EU and covers all personal data. HIPAA is specific. It's just for the US and only for health data. And their core missions are different too. GDPR is all about your rights as a user, while HIPAA is about hardcore ironclad security. But what's really fascinating is that for all their differences, they're built on the same foundation. They both demand things like strong encryption, solid ways of proving who you are, complete transparency with users, and building a secure system from the ground up. So as we start to wrap this up, what's the big takeaway? The most important thing to remember is that these regulations are way more than just another legal hoop to jump through. In the end, this kind of compliance is really the blueprint for building trustworthy software. These rules don't just add a layer of security on top, they actually dictate the entire architecture of an app. They force a privacy by design approach where your safety is a core feature, not just some afterthought. And this really just says it all. In the modern world, building an app isn't just about shipping cool features. It's about being a steward of people's information, of protecting our digital lives. And that's a huge responsibility we should all be aware of every single time we tap install.